Hey, I'm JD Frost with JD Frost & Company, and this is the Accountability Show. This is episode number 11, and we're talking about how in the world do I fill out this check spread template that you've been talking about the last two episodes? And that's a really good question, and there's quite a bit to it. And today I'm just going to give you an overview of how to complete this template. We've talked about what is a check spread template. We talked about why in the world you'd be doing it. Now it's more like, how do you fill it out? Like, how do I actually make this work, JD? Like, what are the steps that I need to take in order to do this? And then next week's episode, we're going to actually be talking about going through the spreadsheet, hopefully with somebody, if anybody's interested, to apply this to their actual business. How do I get this sheet filled out? The very first thing that you need to figure out, and this is on anything that you're doing in your life. This is the Accountability Show, right? So whenever you decide, hey, I want to do something different, you got to make a decision, right? You got to make a decision first in order to determine whether or not you want to do something. So how do I fill out the check spread template? Number one, make a decision that you are going to do this from now moving forward in your business. It's that important to you. So you're going to make a decision, then you're going to commit to that decision, and then you're going to have to start writing it down that you are going to complete this template. That's the first form of accountability. This is the Accountability Show after all. So there's three forms of accountability. The first one is writing it down. Write down what you want to be held accountable for. The second form of accountability is sharing what you want to accomplish with somebody. What decision have you made? I could share with Meg over here, like, hey, I've decided that I want to create a check spread template for my business. And I'm going to share that with her. I'm going to tell her at the end of each month, I am going to complete this form. All right, that's the second form of accountability. So I've written it down. I've shared it with somebody. The third form of accountability, and this is the form of accountability that is ironclad. You will get it done if you have a good accountability partner and you've asked them to follow up with you. So I could ask Meg, hey, I've shared this with you, but I want you to follow up with me by the 5th of each month to make sure that I've recorded this, that I've completed this check spread template. So that's how you can get into the habit of filling it in. That's how you can start to create this habit, is through making a decision, committing to that decision, and creating accountability around it. Now, when you are completing the check spread template, I would recommend that you do this on a monthly basis. This is going to be something that you pull out the bank statement for each month. You're going to record the transactions in the check spread template on a monthly basis. You do not need to create a separate check spread for each month. By all means, if you want to, you can, but you don't necessarily need to. I'd recommend having one copy, one file with it in there, and you add to it every single month. And how you do that is you're going to save this onto your computer. I know this is like really, really simple stuff, but the simplest things are the most effective. You're going to save it on your computer, and then each month when you update it, add to the bank statements, you need to keep a PDF copy of your bank statements in that file as well, so you know exactly where you got the documents from, you got the transactions from. You need to save that document. You need to save the check spread template each month. And how does this help you set up your budget? I've gotten this question a couple of times, and the main reason how this helps you set up a budget is it helps you to understand from month to month how much money you are spending. Most small business owners have a cash flow problem, and it's because they're either spending too much money or they don't have enough revenue coming in for their business. So a lot of us small business owners, we know how much revenue that we're going to be anticipating if you're a fairly established business. If you don't know how much revenue you have coming in, then you need to have a check spread template in order to help you predict what that amount's going to be because of historic information. So the budget can be created because you have these transactions recorded in this check spread template. So if you're doing it from month to month and one month you realize, man, I spent $6,000 on travel, I should have only spent $2,000. Well, there's your new budget number for the following month, $2,000. This will help you save money. It will literally create cash in your pocket if you follow this check spread template, because you will not know how to create your budget if you don't know exactly what you're spending money on currently. You cannot create a budget out of thin air. It won't work. And it's not based off of historic information. So this will allow you to start to create that historic information that you can use in the future to create your budget. I want to go into the actual template a little bit today to teach you how to exactly record one transaction or another. So the first column of the template is the date, right? Date. So I've got this thing memorized. I've looked at it a lot. The date of the transaction. That's going to be the exact date that you have on your bank statement. The second column is the description. So the description is going to be like a brief description. You don't need to write a paragraph. It's going to be bank fees or revenues or note payment or credit card expenses. You can pick whatever description you want. The next column is this a revenue item? Is that right? Yep, a check. Is it a check that I wrote, or is it a revenue item is the next column, right? Perfect. So it's a check, and then it's a deposit. So if you have an expense, then it's a check that's written, right? It is money going out the door. So when you record an expense, you have to record that as a negative amount. So if you have an expense of $100, it's going to be a negative $100. If your transaction is revenue, money coming into the business, or a contribution that you started with the business, or it's money coming from a line of credit into the bank account, that's going to be a positive number. That's going to cause the bank account to increase. The next column is your balance of the bank. You need to start by entering in the beginning balance of your bank account. If you're starting from zero, you need to put zero at the very top. Then if you have an expense of $100, then your bank balance is going to be negative 100, and it actually automatically records this. So it's very important for you to have the bank balance be the exact beginning balance that's on your bank statement. And then at the end, after you record all your transactions, the ending bank balance should match the ending balance on your bank statement. Now, the columns that are to the right of the bank balance, this is going to be your revenue and your expense. Your revenue needs to be entered in as a negative number on that side of the spreadsheet, and your expenses need to be entered as positive numbers. Now, if you're watching this and you're going, what the hell? It's just accounting, okay? That's the way that you got to record these things. When you enter in your revenue as a negative number, that is a credit, what's known as a credit. Everybody has heard probably in accounting terms, debits and credits. The natural balance of a revenue amount is a negative balance, a credit balance. The natural balance for an expense account is a debit balance, which is a positive balance. And once you add up, remember the equation, assets equals liabilities plus equity. That's accounting 101 right there. So you've got to have all of your revenue and your expenses in the proper categories in order for them to work on the income statement and the balance sheet. Clear as mud? So in this check spread template, I know it's a little bit complicated. If you've got questions, please put them below. But the idea is to make this very, very simple for you to understand that you've got your date of the transaction, the description recorded, the expense is recorded as a negative amount, the revenue is recorded as a positive amount, and then your bank balance. On the other side of the bank balance, you have your revenues that will be a negative and your expenses that will be a positive. When you record it that way, you will have all of your transactions in the proper categories and your bank balance is recorded properly and maintained to be the proper balance at the end of the month. The whole point of your check spread template is to ensure that you have recorded every single transaction and that you've put it in the proper accounts, that you've actually recorded revenue as revenue and expenses as expenses and assets as assets in order to build your own balance sheet and income statement. The business owners that are the most successful and I've been in this business for 15 years, the business owners that are the most successful are the ones who understand the transactions that are going through their business, whether they're an expense or an income amount, a liability or an asset. They understand why and how that transaction is affecting their income statement or balance sheet. Some of the most successful CEOs in the world have an accounting background. They actually majored in accounting, or they have their CPA. So the sooner that you can understand and use this check spread to understand and get comfortable with the accounting of your business, the more successful you will be. So I appreciate you watching this episode. I know we kind of got down into the nitty-gritty on that. In our next episode, we will show you an example of check spread templates, so maybe this might all make a lot more sense. It's a lot easier to watch this episode if you have the check spread template opened up, looking at that while listening to this. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would love to have you subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year. Got a lot of work to do, and I can't do it without you. Thank you for watching.